Quiet as that, Blake Ray. Do not loud chew those beaver nuggets. Okay? Look at it. You can't get enough of it. All right, we're going to be talking about business owner mindset today. But before we do, let's do our needs analysis stuff. So you guys have given me 4 bullet points to talk about today. First one being price reduction strategies. So Kathy has a seller who does not want to reduce the price.
Right.
We're going to get into what he's willing to do next. But my argument to her was she's got a seller who's willing to stage, possibly willing to paint, willing to do whatever to get it sellable, right? To get past some of these buyer objections. So Kathy was like, well, my thought is I'm going to take it off the market. We're going to do the staging. We're going to do whatever we're going to do, and then we're going to put it back on. And I was like, at a lower price? And she said, no, at the same price.
He wants to pay money to fix all of it, but not lower price?
It all comes down to the final number that comes through after closing costs and everything comes out. He has a dollar amount that he's willing to do. So he's just crunching certain numbers. And so, yes. And I've made him fully aware because where he's at right now is $10,000 over a house that is coming onto the market brand new Friday was built in 2016. It's fully updated. It's the same size in a desirable neighborhood. And it's the things that are popping up now are at a lower listing price, and it really is making it even more difficult.
We want to improve
to try to maintain that price.
But he's still losing. Because staging ain't cheap, is it? What is it, 4 on that house?
Well, I think if we did just dining room, we did master dining room, living room, master bedroom. That's it.
And kitchen, with stage, just making it
Like place setting.
making it look nice and completely redoing the lighting in those rooms as well.
All right, so let's go over just a brief pricing strategy that I would just burn into your brain. Okay, that 10 showings, no offers, it's overpriced.
We've had about 30 showings.
10 showings.
First 30 days.
So what you want to do though is, we're a little bit behind the 8 ball here, but what we want to do is set expectations. I think I just turned it on. I didn't hit record. Yeah, dang, every time. What we want to do is set expectations of pricing in the beginning and just say, hey, listen, if we have 10 showings and no offers, that's likely going to mean that we're being rejected by the market based on one of 2 factors, price or condition. The 2 factors that get a home sold in any market are always going to be price and condition. The condition either has to be elevated to meet the price, or the price needs to be lower to meet the condition. So just memorize that. Never forget it. It's locked in here. Blake?
Just saying, this particular situation is always one I've argued. Like now she spent what, 30 days on market? So can that theorem still work? Does condition need to be factored in when you got 30 days on market?
It's a good question. I think, so that's why I said, if you're going to improve the condition at this point and not lower the price, it's risky, right?
Well, we just did our $10,000 reduction 2 weeks ago. So he's already feeling that.
Mm-hmm.
And the feedback that we're getting back is based on just little conditions and then like school district, or it's just too rural and it's stuff that we can't change.
All right, stuff that you can't change. This was another burning your brain thing. When people say, hey, I wish this was bigger, I wish it was here, I wish it was there, the stuff you can't change, that's price. Mm-hmm. And that's another expectation you set with sellers. Any feedback we get on things we can't change is price. Some agents will say price, condition, location. And it was like location, location, location. But I just do away with location because I feel like price will trump anything. You lower the price enough, it could be next to a toxic waste dump. Somebody's going to buy it, right? So, and you don't want to give them too many things. So it's just price and condition. Let's focus on that and it will move. Okay. Another slogan I heard at a real estate conference somewhere, can't remember, was if it's not compelling, it's not selling. So is this a compelling listing? And then that goes back to price and condition. Is the price and condition compelling? If it's not selling. I think at this point where you're at, I would, let's look at the staging budget. I would go ahead, and the other thing is, Blake, the stove doesn't work and the microwave's broken. And to me,
Yeah, but you can negotiate those in the home warranty. Like that, they ain't trying out that one. She knows that.
well, the microwave handle's like broken. It doesn't look.
Well, it doesn't look nice, and people have said, and he's willing to do it. He actually offered the $1,500 credit towards buying new appliances.
I don't like that credit.
I would just
But
go
I
ahead
think
and,
he's just gonna buy, I think we're just gonna go and get.
Can you buy a handle off like eBay or something?
The full thing,
Blake, not now.
the whole thing.
Here's what I think the strategy needs to be. Replace those appliances, Kathy, replace them. Go ahead and get them replaced right now.
Okay.
Get it done. Get the staging estimate for just those rooms.
We already done that. I just
Okay.
gotta call him this afternoon with everything and hopefully get it started by tomorrow if we can.
Okay, and in terms of price reductions, I think the only thing we can do is focus on, this is probably all he's willing to do, is $100 a week.
That's what I was gonna say, was
$100 a week.
that 10,000 was a heavy jump. Because I think just as Jason was saying about the buyers, no matter what they're saying, oh, this doesn't work, that it's price. No matter what the seller says he'll fix, it's because he thinks that $10,000 is too much. Even if you tell him, I'm not gonna do that again, he's still thinking, you're gonna ask me and I'm gonna do it. So a lot of times I'll do 250 drops, but if I was to come up and ask you for a $2,000 drop in a month, I've had sellers go, no. But then if I rephrase it and I go, well, would you be open to doing 250 drops on Tuesday and Thursday? Because those are Zillow's most heavily trafficked times. They go, oh, that sounds fair.
Yeah,
Still
well,
$2,000.
the sticky part with this is when I first talked to him and we had this conversation, I told him it was already priced a little high, and I gave him the recommendation of where it should be, and we're not even at that place. So, I mean, I'm willing to do that and see if he's gonna do it. I mean, he might be willing to do that, but I think he's gonna stop and say, okay, I'll do the appliances, let's do the lighting, let's do the light staging, and see how we do this weekend, because I mean, we already have showings.
But this is nothing.
That's
This is-
nothing when you think about it week to week.
He needs to do it.
Yeah.
Because this is an algorithm hack.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
And so keeping it fresh on
Okay.
the portals and everything, keeping it high ranking is important. Blake?
Don't you think in this particular, I hear what you're saying about the appliances, but I know a stove's gonna cost $800 to $1,000. So she knows what she's up against with newer homes coming on the market cheaper. If she tells him to go ahead and get all these things and it doesn't sell still, isn't that one step closer to getting buyer money out?
I think she's probably going that route anyway. We have a short-term listing. I'm not sure what the relationship's like, but he may be.
Start building the buyers, working those open houses.
Well, that's what I would do. But if you can get
Well,
it,
then Foley on an unsellable house, they just worked it.
Well,
Yeah.
he told me this morning, he has complete trust in me to do whatever he feel, or whatever I feel needs to be done. He said that everything I've done, I've had the showings and everything, that I've blown it out of the water. We just haven't found our buyer.
I would throw that back at him
Because
and
he
say,
just
trusts me like you
really
say.
doesn't want to let go of those extra dollars.
Yeah. All right, so the next thing, just on the staging piece, the expectation I like to set with sellers is from the curb to the closets and everywhere in between, we need to make a good first impression.
Mhm.
And obviously there's trash in the yard, not a lot, but there's a Walmart bag here, an old rainy, wet, soggy newspaper here, little wrappers and deer heads and all kind of stuff, and so it's like,
We're getting the trampoline removed.
yeah, so all that stuff, all the
Yeah.
deck's not staged, looking for outdoor furniture. It's just the house does not make a good first impression. And you never get that back. You never get it back. Okay. Off-market moves. I think these two might be congruent in some way. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I feel like, buyer affordability, the affordability index is shrinking because interest rates are rising. Off-market sellers are unrealistic based on what they're hearing, what they're seeing, and buyer demand. Like, yeah, come on. Because look, who was telling me something? Somebody was telling me something. During one of my coaching calls, I had an agent who said that their buyers made like a $70,000 offer. It was $70,000 over list, and then put the appraisal, this huge like $35,000 appraisal gap coverage in it, and they still didn't get the offer. So I just think off-market sellers hear that, and they're like, buyers are swinging for the fences, and I don't really want to move, so let me just put $1 million price tag on it.
Yeah, that's the point I was making.
Yeah.
You gotta find them, right? Because you need the inventory, but I don't know who has more of the responsibility. Is it the sellers to be more realistic or the buyers to be like, well, I know what I'm getting into?
Here's, so I guess it would depend on what a home buyer's mindset is around time and waste of time. But if I'm a seller, I want to see an offer on paper.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not even giving prices on some of these, dude. They're just saying.
Because you said, I know you said it's $1 million, but here's 900 cash or 900 whatever.
Conventional. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to counter this? Take it. I mean, let's see where this goes. I mean, it's all just kind of smoke and mirrors until we get it on paper.
Yeah.
But I think these two with buyer affordability shrinking, this is going to get more realistic. That they're going to get more realistic about pricing. And it's not going to happen overnight. But one thing I would tell your buyers is you need to go see this property with them because you can have an opportunity to get in front of the seller. And he knows you have buyers because you're bringing them with you.
Right.
And it's not some agent from your office.
Right.
It's a real buyer
who
might be willing to make a real offer, may not be willing to make $1 million offer, but possibly 900,000.
Running when they go list.
Yeah, it just the point is you need to get face to face with these people. Yeah. And it's not necessarily one of the big things I'm trying to tackle right now with agents is it's not about that seller. And it's not about right now. It's not about them specifically, and it's not about right now. It is about them, but it's also about who they know. And it's not about right now. It could be 6 months or a year from now. You're not planning on getting out of the real estate business anytime soon.
Yeah. So
you need those relationships. You need to stay in contact. You never know when these circumstances are going to change, and you just stay in touch. But who knows? You could even have an honest conversation with them and go, hey, if I've got a buyer that's 900,000, your circumstances could change in 6 months. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, God forbid people get in accidents, they get sick, things change. If you're always there in the forefront and you're establishing yourself, you're building a reputation as an off-market specialist. Right. Somebody who's willing to go find the properties for people that aren't available.
That's a good thing, even if it doesn't work out.
Kathy, in regards to this, you are making a mistake if you don't create content specifically about this right now. Like I had buyer A and buyer B, and both of them you tell the story of the seller that you have, that there was an offer, they were ready to write an offer, but the interest rates changed and suddenly they couldn't afford it anymore.
I did tell my seller that.
So I would create some content around that, letting people know. I mean, you have a responsibility to educate the public on the state of the market.
Because I also talked to a mortgage professional this morning too, and we were discussing that, and that they're just going up, and it's really kind of rocking the buyers a little bit.
It's not that high though.
Well, the thing is that they're waiting, and then they're seeing where it's going to go, and then they're getting very wishy-washy on what to do. And
I'll give you a better example of what you can use to your people. I remember when it dropped. What was the lowest it dropped to? 2.7 for a minute.
Yeah.
I remember people when I called them and said, "Hey, you need to refi. Hey, you need to get approved for a loan. It's like 2.7." And this is what somebody said. Nah, it's probably going to go lower than that. Then 3, then 3.6. So they'll say the same thing every time. I bought my first house in Gulf Shores. I got it for 4.5, and I thought I was like,
There's a U in
well,
golf.
that's a deal.
There's a U in golf.
Yeah,
There's an O in golf and a U in golf.
No, it's named after the golf
Golf Shores.
You're not a local.
All right.
Tourist.
This is off-market content too, Blake. Hey, I've identified X amount of off-market sellers in Ross Bridge, and we got tripods here, we got cameras. We can go in there and talk about it anytime you want. Hit record. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on. Everybody's questions are answered, right, TJ?
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah,
all right, we're moving on.
We could keep going on this.
No, we got to get to this other part because I really feel like this stuff is game-changing stuff right here, okay? So this is the notes from our brokerage team retreat, kind of condensed and then very organized here with like bulleted lists. You see all this stuff? Top threes, different color inks. Oh, this is like, look at this. This is like a work of art. What I loved about our brokerage team retreat this weekend is that it just solidified everything I've been saying, okay, about how to build a real estate business, what your priorities are, what your focus needs to be on, how do you build a life by design, okay? So design equals design. If you have a design day, a design week, a design month, a design quarter, and a design year, you're going to have a design life, a life by your own design. So let's dive right in. This is one thing too that's specific about JPAR wanting to build business owners, and it starts with mindset, the business owner mindset. Far too many agents are worried about things that don't equate to profit. Okay? Whatever the case may be. Okay, so my main point is like, so they're at brokerages where they're paying 20, 30, 40%. Okay? They can come to JPAR and increase their profitability exponentially, but yet they still stuck. And so it's like JPAR is, we don't have the managers, we don't have all these little staff people that are going to baby you and enter your data in for you and all that stuff, but they still want that. It's like, hey, we want to make more money, but we want the services too. And that's not how it works here. How it works here is that we give you the infrastructure to build your own business. And as a business owner, you take extreme ownership of your systems, your processes, your failures, your results, your successes, all of it, right? You take ownership of it all. You are self-sufficient. You are self-accountable. You are learning-based, and you are goal-oriented, okay? So a business owner mindset, you are leveling up. A salesperson, there is an insinuation, in my opinion, of dependency, okay? And a business owner is like they're their own foundation. They're not looking for anybody. They're not putting their success on somebody else's doorstep. They're not banking on something to go through. They don't wait for things to happen. They make things happen. And this is where everybody needs to be. But I think the biggest thing is the accountability of this mindset. Who are you accountable to? You know, these agents are jumping from brokerage to brokerage looking for greener grass, when if they don't start implementing a dollar productive schedule, they're always going to be in this feast or famine roller coaster where they got a couple, they do like 3 transactions, and then their business is dry as a bone for 3 months. That's not a dollar productive agent. And in my opinion, that is not a business owner. All right. So this could be like a victim mentality. Okay. You know, I don't know. Are you a victim? Are you a survivor? Are you a business owner? Are you wanting somebody to do something for you, or are you willing to go get it? Okay, so I think business owners understand that they need to make things happen. So the other thing that I talk a lot about is what our consumers expect from us as professionals. Okay, and I'm listening to a book on Audible right now, The Way of the Wolf, with the Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, does that impress you, Blake?
That's better than the Will Smith one.
All right, so he talked about this, okay? He talks about the difference between a novice and an expert. All right, so what's the number one thing our consumers want or expect from a professional real estate agent?
Market knowledge.
Market knowledge. Market knowledge, industry knowledge, and that equates to expertise, right? Yeah. So when you start out in the real estate industry, when you're a new agent, you know, you need to fake it till you make it, okay? You need to be able to talk the talk, but you need to be like obsessed with developing an expertise, All right. So one thing I talk about a lot is that our consumers are looking for certainty. So Kathy, do you want to get a heart transplant by a novice or an expert? Okay. Do you want to get your car repaired by a novice or an expert?
Expert.
Do you want to take your kids to a novice pediatrician or an expert pediatrician?
Expert.
Okay. So what is the difference in the pediatrician, the doctor, the car mechanic, and the real estate professional? What's the difference? This is the most expensive investment a person makes in their lifetime, and you want them to hire you to be their advocate through that, to guide them through this the biggest transaction of their life with a novice level of expertise. Explain that to me.
Well, I can explain how it happens, because in our industry, I said this the other day, is I was talking to TJ and I said, man, it's amazing how many top producers there are in one county. Like you look on Facebook on January 1st and everybody was leading agent in the county. So therefore your experts are always, it's interpreted. So the consumer doesn't know. You have to go out and seek them out, right? I think that's the differential. Let's say I learned everything there is to know about Ross Bridge. Everything. I know who lives. I know where their bathroom is. I know how many times they use the bathroom. How is that supposed to transition into the mega agent that was there before me? I mean, I know.
Mega.
Yeah, mega.
Okay. So what do you think? What do you think having an expert level of knowledge? So you've got this deep expertise in a subdivision or in a zip code or in a farm or a radius, whatever it is. What does that expertise, what do you think the X factor is that it gives you?
Confidence.
Yeah. Okay. And if you project confidence, I believe you're projecting certainty.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to hire somebody to help me buy or sell one of my largest, if not the largest investment that I own. I want to hire an expert. Okay. We could go through industry after industry after industry, but you know, I'm listening to, I love these, I found these little things on Audible too. It's music plus words. So it's like these musicians telling their stories, and then they stop from telling their stories and they play a song. But like Sting was talking about how many hours it took for him to teach himself how to play bass and sing at the same time. Apparently that's hard to do in the music industry. But hours and hours and hours and hours of practice. So when he stepped onto the stage, he was prepared. So Sting goes on the stage, he plays, he misses chords, forgets words. Are you going back to see him again?
No.
I mean, I'm lost on this, okay? I'm lost on this. And I think in order to gain this, you need to schedule it. Just like an artist schedules creativity, we need to schedule time to do a deep dive in our field and develop a mastery level expertise in some sort of specialization. Blake Rankin.
Yes. So I think sometimes what happens, a disconnect is one day I could be down in Chelsea, next day I could be in Adamsville. I mean, I can study all I want about Adamsville. I'm not going to know everything about it. Like when I talk to someone in Ross Bridge, I'm going to know a little bit, I'm going to feel a little bit more confident talking about it. You know, just because I know where it is, I know this, I'm learning people, everything. I know where stuff is. But how do you, I get where you're going with this.
Well, there's just differences in approach to the business. So right now, you were specifically working buyer leads that are generated either from Google or from Facebook.
Yeah.
And if you're generating buyer leads, if you're developing an internet lead specialization, then your expertise is the home buying process. Right. You know how to show home. You know how to, it would start the buyer consult. You know how to do conduct an expert level buyer consultation. You know how to show homes in a manner that's like truly effective. You know how to close for the offer, close for the contract, right? You know how to guide them through every next step of the process, right? You're setting expectations the whole time. You're saying, hey, next step is this, home inspection. What do you need to know? How do you prepare for the home inspection? How do you negotiate repairs? You're an expert on everything from consultations, showing, contract to close, and then you have a post-close game plan. And you would develop your market expertise would possibly be, or would definitely be a lot more shallow. But the other thing is that you need to have 4 to 6 income streams. Okay, so one of those, I would highly advise you to have a farm or a designated area where you are an expert. So you'd have the Ross Bridge expertise, but you'd also have the buyer's agent expertise. You would also possibly have a for sale by owner expertise. You might also be an expert at handling sign calls, or an expert at open houses, or an expert at social media marketing, whatever the case may be that draws more business into you. You could be an expert on low to no money down loan programs. So you could be a first-time home buyer expert, but you need to have more than one line in the water. More than one line in the water. Okay? And you, trust me, you have plenty of time to work internet leads and become an expert on Ross Bridge, to where you know everything. Like, you know who's on the HOA, you know if there's going to be an HOA increase, you know if there is new development coming, you know, if there's going to be another phase of the development, you know all that stuff. You know all the models, all the builders, all the top selling models, all the basic features, every amenity. You know how much it costs to join the golf course or golf club. You know how much it is a night at the hotel. You know the most popular drink at the hotel. I mean, you know it all. All right. You know the most consistent vendors at the farmers market. You have a relationship with a lot of people that do the farmers market. I mean, you know it all. So if anybody has a Ross Bridge question, you're the guy to answer it. Now we're going to go into how do you capitalize on that through this part. Okay, so I feel that, you know, I don't know, I just may be different, but I don't think a consumer looks at, hey, I'm the number one agent, or I'm top this, or I made this, or this is how much my volume was in 2021. I don't necessarily know. My question is, what is the benefit of that to the consumer? How does that help the consumer?
Nothing to a stranger, but if they have a relationship with them, it's just more confirming that they're going to use them.
Okay, so this is, it gives them validation for referrals.
Validation for
like that's my agent. They're doing a lot of business. I trust them with my referrals.
Like, so let's take TJ versus me. She went to Hugh Down High or whatever, or I don't know if TJ was throwing one out. So there may be something that TJ, somebody that knows TJ, but hasn't talked to TJ, and I could be calling them, cold calling them, not knowing them. Just a little bit more validation with her number one producer thing. They go, oh, she's a local expert. I've known her for years. I see her at the gas station or whatever.
Is there a question there?
No, I was saying, you were saying what's the validation of the number one producer?
Well, I think it has power. It has merit when it is combined with other things. Okay, but if all you're doing is putting out content going, hey, I'm a realtor, or hey, this is how much I sold last month or last quarter, it's a very shallow in terms of the contribution it makes to the consumer.
Yeah.
Okay, I think telling the story of how you got there, and you know what you did to get there, how you do it consistently, what's your customer service experience, what do your clients say, mixing in testimonials, to me that's way more beneficial to the consumer than just by saying, because I know a lot of turds that sell a lot of real estate, but they are a turd. Like, I mean, they are just in it for themselves. They do well.
Say names.
Yeah, you wish. All right. So if we could, as an industry, get just laser focused on this, it's going to change the game. Now, my empathy for the real estate agent and the real estate industry is the 100% commission factor. So I understand how much pressure that puts on people. And that to me is the reason why agents are focused more on the opportunity as opposed to the preparation for that opportunity. But what we know is that you are not likely, just like Kathy's seller is not likely to get the blessing of, a second chance to make a good impression. Okay. So if that opportunity presents itself and we're not prepared, we missed it. Okay. And I think it's powerful when we tie all this back into honoring our why. All right. There's the Seth Godin quote I shared at the BNI meeting this morning was, one of the greatest things we can do for our people, for our agents, our employees, is help them self-discover what motivates them, and then help them create an action plan, a game plan, a schedule that gets them there, that makes what is driving them a reality or puts them closer to whatever is driving them. Does it make sense? All right. So these were basically, out of everyone that spoke at our brokerage team retreat, I just condensed these. These were like the 3 keys to growth and longevity. These were like common denominators of what people were saying move the needle for them and their respective markets or their respective industry. And it was listen, connect, and serve. This first one is extremely important, okay? So I want you to think about this for a second. All right, what is the number one reason why agents that are newly licensed delay getting on the phone or say they don't want to get on the phone? What is it like their number one fear that's going to happen during the call? What's that?
Yeah.
All right, I think it's more likely that they're going to get asked a question they don't know the answer to.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, of course, it could be an objection they can't overcome. But what I hear from agents is, I want to wait until I get to this expertise level before I get on the phone.
Yeah.
All right. But that's not what we're saying here. I'm saying talk the talk at first as a novice and then run as fast as you can to get to the expert level. All right. But in addition to that, what I'm saying is that listening is a form of research. And research was a topic or a word that was used a great deal during the talks from our guest speakers at the retreat. This is a discovery process, just like price is a discovery process. Listening is how, asking questions and then listening with the intent, the intentionality of being influenced is how we're going to learn. Discovering, we want to discover 2 things, right? What are a buyer or seller's pain points? What are their pain points? And what are the problems that those pain points are a result of what the buyer or seller sees as problems? Okay. Now, this is another thing that I would burn into your brain. If you want to be a top salesperson, you want to establish a reputation as a problem solver. He or she who solves the problems, that's the direction the money flows. The money flows in the direction of problem solvers. The other thing that I hear agents doing a lot more is trying to sell themselves as opposed to making it about the consumer. Okay, so they're like, oh, and I was the top agent in my office last month. That crap, I'm telling you, they don't care.
I know.
They do not care.
I get it. Sometimes you feel like you got to get that justification out to defend that, though. I don't say that like number 1 agent in the county. But, I think there's a lot of times that these, when you start it, there's immediately hesitation. Like, I don't think the new call is the hardest call. I think being committed to calling them within the first 5 minutes of them registering on the site, you got to get past that dogfight real quick.
Well, so there is so I was thinking about this. I keep hearing 5s.
Yeah.
Right. I keep hearing 5s in sales trainings and whatever else. So it's across industries. But so basically, your opportunity to make a good first impression, 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Your opportunity to convert an internet lead, 5 minutes.
Right.
You should be having 10 conversations a day, but 5 of those should be your Mets and 5 non-Mets. We could make a whole training class on 5s. So you got
much info out there too, though.
Yeah, there is. But we can quiet the noise using this process. But this part's going to take self-awareness. Like I know of an agent right now who I could tell her this and she would just, because she's going to do this. She feels like sales means you dominate conversations. And that's going to come back, that's limiting, is going to limit her success. If she can't stop, slow down and go, hey, it's not about me. I need to learn from them. What do they think is important? What are their problems? What are their pain points? How can I solve those problems? If you have that mindset, then you actually look forward to objections. You're not afraid of them. You want them because that's part of the discovery process. So, oh gosh, yeah, that's a great objection, or that's a great comment, or that's a valid concern. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, tell me more about that. Like, why is that important to you? Let's stop for a second. Let's drill a little deeper on this. And it's going to open up a lot of different things. So once they tell you, like, these are our concerns, these are our fears, these are our pain points, these are our problems, how do we overcome that? For instance, if a buyer says, I don't have 20% to put down, that gives you an opportunity to go crush it with your knowledge and expertise of low to no money down programs. But if you don't have that expertise, and you don't have to, you want to, as soon as possible, start that group chat text with your lender going, hey, got Miss Jones here. Hey, this is Diana, or this is Jonathan, whoever it is. They're interested in low to no money down programs, but I think you can't pawn off that stuff to your lender. Okay, you need to have enough of that expertise to be
the
doing
next chat part. What's the matter with putting them in the Blend app?
Well, you could, but you could just say, hey Diana, this meet Jean. I'm putting her in the app. She's going to get rolling, but wanted just to introduce you guys. And that way you have to go like, hey, did you get time to get on the app? Or hey, did Diana call you back? You don't have to do all that stuff. So I would say group chats or group texts, and then video chats, game changers. Group chats, video chats, game changers. Okay? You're looking confused, Blake, but I don't know if that's like.
Well, I'm trying to think of how, when you say the term game changing. So you're talking about this going from a cold lead that agrees to get pre-qualified. You put them in a text chain with Diana, and then all of a sudden I just say, hey, we're going to get together and do a video chat?
No, you say, so it's called 3, 4, or 5.
You're talking about setting a video.
No, I'm talking about let's jump on FaceTime real quick.
And do a buyer consult?
Could do a buyer consult, but it's more about putting the face with the name. You're trying to build loyalty, okay?
Yeah.
So this is a prime example of overcomplication, all right? So Kathy and I, this is gonna be fun, Kathy, all right? So we met on an online dating site, okay? I've got all these pictures on this site. I'm in peak. These pictures are showing me in like peak physical, condition.
84, Nick condition.
So let me ask you from a female perspective, okay? So I'm a prospect, okay? I'm one of your prospects for marriage material, all right? You're looking to close the deal on a husband. I'm one of your prospects. We have been conversing quite a bit, okay? We're on our 4th or 5th phone call. Things are going well. Starting to feel some, some sparks, happening.
Some urges.
And I say, Kathy, let's finally meet for a date. Would you feel more comfortable if on the 4th or 5th call, prior to me asking you for a date, if it's like, hey, you want to jump on a Zoom or a video chat, or let's get face to face here?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So you're not like, surprised when you show up to the restaurant and I've lost the 6-pack. The 6-pack's turned into a keg.
I had a COVID booster. Kind of some stuff happened.
Gives you the chance to kind of decide on if you want to move forward or not.
Well, and there's a loyalty thing there. And there's a connect. We're going to talk a lot about connection today. And there's a connection factor about getting eyeball to eyeball. Okay. And this is one of the blessings of COVID, I feel like, is that people have gotten so much more receptive to virtual meetings.
Yeah.
So, what you're going to find is, especially with an internet lead generation specialization, is you're going to miss out on some of those buyers, because when they get super serious about buying, they're going to go to somebody at work or somebody at church and go, hey, I'm finally ready to buy. So excited. They're going, well, who are you going to use? Oh, I'm using Blake Ray. I've been talking to him online. Okay, well, that's a little scary. Why don't you just go to this person who's in my small group at church, who's a real estate agent who helped me buy my house.
You're the top producer in the county.
But you spent 6 months nurturing this relationship, but you never got face to face. Okay. All right, we're moving on now, Blake. All right, just hold that question until whenever.
I do have something. Can I?
Yeah, you may, because Blake is like, he's totally fouled out.
Well, one thing that
see that sports reference there?
previously was told to do that I didn't like, and I found out it really it turns people off, is when you make contact to initiate with a video so they know who you are. And what I found out, because I did try it. I tried it. I know several people that tried to do that, and it was a complete turn off for anybody who received it. So it's better to, like, once you talk for 3, like you said, 3 or 4 times, you got this conversation, then do it. Don't just jump into that.
And I would say this, try voice to text before. The only thing I would do prior to, because when you're asking for that face-to-face, there's some sort of rapport that's developed. I mean, it's just like, hey, let's take this relationship to the next level, let's get face to face. That builds loyalty. That closes the loyalty gap. But try setting before that. I would say voice to text. Like, you had a great phone call, send them a voice text. Go, hey, really enjoyed our, thanks for taking my call. Really enjoyed our time on the phone. Looking forward to our follow up in a couple of weeks. Enjoy your time in Aspen. Whatever. All right.
I got to work on that. I can't do it officially.
All right, let's look at this, okay? And so this is going to be harder for some people, is to be passionate about people. Like, not every real estate agent is a people person, and that's not a kiss of death. There are ways to circumvent that, but I think there's also a way to train your mind to focus on gratitude and humility when it comes to being passionate about people. I mean, these are common denominators of top producers. They understand that they're really going to succeed by asking great questions and then listening very intently. They know that in order to grow their business, grow their databases, grow their referrals, they need to be just laser focused. I'm talking like obsessed with connection and getting into deeper connection, and adding as many people to the database as possible, but not just adding people to a database for the sake of adding them, but adding them to the database for the sake of connection. Okay, so for building a relationship that is a two-way street, that is fruitful for both parties, is key. And then the last one here, serve. We're basically talking about 2 different agents here. You've got the transactional agent, and you've got a more of a relational agent. And so my advice here is to focus on return on relationship, not return on investment. So return on relationship, not return on investment. So let me give you an example of this. So one of our speakers at the retreat was asked about what his best lead sources were. And for sellers, he mentioned FSBOs at the top of the list. For sale by owner, for the top of the list. And he outlined his strategy. And his strategy is simply this: to serve them in whatever capacity possible with zero expectation of a financial gain. Okay, so one of our agents raised her hand and said, well, I have a question. Like, why would you do that, number one? And where do you draw the line? Do you draw a line? I find if I'm willing to give them and serve them and just be totally abundant with them, that they're just going to take, and I'm going to be left with nothing. Okay? So that's not a bad question, right? I mean, I think that's a valid argument. His response was, and he responded, I think he responded to the question, but he ended up following up with me after the retreat and going, hey, I probably should have gone deeper in my explanation of this. But he was using a specific example of a sale by owner where he did everything he could to help them with no expectation of any financial gain. And in this particular instance, there was no financial gain. And he added it up, and it was a $4,000 commission that he would have made if he had brought a buyer, like found a buyer through an open house or one of his buyers from his database. So he served them, missed out on that commission. And then it was like, I don't know, 2 weeks later, this same FSBO calls him and says, hey, I got a friend looking for $1 million property on the water in Mississippi. And I told him you're the guy. So missed out on 4K, now has a chance to make, I don't remember exactly what the amount was. I think it was over $1 million. So somewhere between maybe 20 and 40K of commission. So he's like, I'm doing this all day long. All day long. I'm taking this all day long. All right. We also talked about the Munoz leading to the Marlins, which I think is a valid point to make. But there's a lot of research about changing your focus from the money to serving, and then the money just comes in exponentially. The return is exponential when you change your focus from this to this. Now, I'm just going to go back and say, shoot, I get it. It's really hard to do that at 100% commission-based sales, but it may be something where you're starting out as novice and you're moving to expert. So you may have, a part-time job, or you may have some side hustles that kind of get you there. But as soon as possible, you're either saving enough money to where you can focus on service, or you're making enough money to where you can focus on service. All right, any questions before we move on? Thank you for no questions, Blake. Yep. The magic bullet in real estate. This is one thing, or a magic bullet in sales. This is a question I get asked a lot. Like, what's the secret sauce? What's the fast track? What is, the highest and best priority in real estate? And the answer to the question is consistency. Okay, consistency is the magic bullet. But what is the tool by which a real estate agent can best guarantee daily consistency with a focus on dollar productive activities? What's the tool, Blake, right?
Schedule.
All right, you choose it. You obviously saw that. Huh? Schedule.
Pretty evident at this juncture of our relationship.
Yeah, because we're pounding it, right? We're pounding the schedules in, but yet, what percentage of agents do we think run their business like a business and have a schedule?
I don't believe me.
All right.
I think it's the hardest thing ever in the history of mankind, and I would go up there with like flying a plane or solving the Rubik's Cube. Schedule.
All right, and so what we're going to do, the last part of this is we're going to get to Rick Sharp's schedule, but I just want to point out that I can honestly tell you that I do not know of a mega producer that has not run their business like a business, and that means having a daily dollar productive schedule. I just don't. I don't. So maybe it depends on what you want to do. So let's go back to this word certainty. Blake Ray feels like, okay, I'm just going to work my ASS off and the results will happen. If I just stay on the phone, I don't need a schedule. I just need to stay on the phone.
Right.
Okay. Then
my ears bleed.
then things are going to take care of themselves, right?
Yes.
So what I think the big difference is it goes back to this word, certainty. It's certainty. So if you started running your business like a business and stuck to a schedule, there would not be, you would virtually eliminate the hypotheticals, the unknowns, and you could start to focus on certainty. Because if it was just that easy, then all these top producers would say, man, don't worry about a schedule. Get up, just dial your damn ass off, or go to as many network your face off, call your face off, do pop buys until your face falls off. Just get up every day and just get in front of people nonstop all day long. And it'll happen. Why are you reinventing the wheel and coming up with a strategy that going to blow us all out of our shoes?
Strategy. I'm not saying it's the right one by no means, but I think that in my situation, I guess, if we want to have this on camera, is not everybody wants to do that. I understand that it's not the straightest shot at it, but to me, there is no better waste of time, or whatever you want, better use of time than dialing.
Okay, so we're gonna plug some holes in your boat, I think. All right, we'll see where this goes. But let's just use, this is not the schedule you should be running. This is just an example of a schedule.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
All right. So the point here, before we dive into Rick's schedule, the primary point we want to focus on is that you need to design a schedule that is specific to you, your needs, your family demands, everything, right? Extracurricular activities, soccer practice, volleyball practice, horseback riding, feeding the pig, whatever it is, right? So this is just an example, okay? This is just giving you, this is essentially a floor plan here, right?
Sure.
And you can plug this in, you can design it however you want to design it. But let's go over Rick Sharp's, okay? Rick Sharp, Rookie of the Year 2020, Rookie of the Year JPAR company-wide.
2021.
Yeah, so top producer, Rookie of the Year, just shot out of a cannon in real estate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a new agent who achieved incredible results right out of the gate. This is what they do. My thought process is, why would I want to do it a different way? If he's doing it this way, and Eric, Diana, Brian, everybody you can think of, all the Tom Ferry top producers, all the Brian Buffini top producers, they all do it this way. Why am I doing it different again? Why don't I want to do it this way and not my way? Why don't I want to do it the way I know that is guaranteed, that gives me certainty, that is going to give me financial freedom? Why am I trying to do it my own way? Why don't I want to do it their way? They're the ones at the top. All the ones at the top do it this way. Why do I want to do it a different way? Especially when we think about this for a second, okay? So let's get into the schedule. I want to focus, I guess, on two key words at this point. One is certainty and one is freedom. Okay? And freedom in our industry is earned. Okay? And so is certainty. So Rick, 8 to 10 is his connection time. That's phone. He's connecting with people over the phone from 8 to 10. 8 to 10, phone prospecting. Rick does not, he does very little of his business is lead generated, is lead generation. Okay? He's an SOI agent. Okay? So he is primarily calling his SOI. There may be a few leads here or there, but he's an SOI guy. From 10 to 2 is his C and B seen. These are his appointments. These are his appointments. If you are not a SOI person, if you're new to an area, this 10 to 2, if you don't have buyer appointments or seller appointments, what other kind of appointments should you be going on? You should be showing yourself homes. The appointments with yourself. This is another thing agents just poo-poo because there's no immediate return on investment in it. Or they are making that assumption. From 2 to 4 is his flex time. So I asked Rick, I said, Rick, during your 8 to 10 time, do you have Facebook open and ESPN.com open? And are you in a space that has a lot of distractions? And he's like, no. This 8 to 10, I'm going from one phone call to the next. I may make some notes, but I'm not bunny trailing. I'm not getting lost on a social media post or an email. I am focused on deeply connecting to the people that are on my call list for that day. Okay? I think that's really important. Flex time is when he returns his emails, returns voicemails, does contract to close, puts out some fires, does the busy work. One question, before we go further, one question I got asked was, from the agents in the audience was, well, this is where I do most of my showings. How does he get his showings done from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.? How does that happen? All right, so I asked him this morning specifically. I said, hey, we got a lot of questions on this. What's the answer? I said, my assumption is that because you are just a sphere of influence agent, that you're able to pull this off because you have set your professional hours and they respect it because they respect you a lot more than people that don't know you. And he goes, that's absolutely right. He did say that this may be unavoidable. Okay, if it's unavoidable, then he will show homes in his 10 to 2 period. Okay, or I'm sorry, in the 4 to 7 or 7 a.m. He may have to show homes. He may have to disrupt the schedule of show homes outside of his 10 to 2. Sure. Things happen. He's like, man, I'll show a home on the weekends. I might have to show one at 7 a.m. Meet somebody at the house at 7 a.m. or I may have to do it in the evening. But the point is that when people, he doesn't refer, for example, when one of his SOI says, hey, can you meet me at the house at 5:30? He doesn't say, oh gosh, I'm sorry, that's my family time. He goes, oh gosh, I've got an appointment from 4 to 7 tomorrow afternoon. Is there any other time you could do it? Like, do you have any availability from 10 to 2? And if they say no, it's got to be 5:30, then it's got to be 5:30. But he told me, like, this is sacred. This is absolutely sacred time. He does whatever he can to protect his family time. And then after his family time's over, he gets back to work. So you may think, well, daylight savings time, you may have some room to get some showings done in here, right? After dinner, after family time. The key here is that he is earning the right to essentially clock out every day. I hope you guys are seeing this. He has afforded himself the right by being consistent to shut his day off at 4 p.m. So just think about that. Think about that. He's like, I'll work a weekend if I have to, but I don't like working weekends. He's essentially saying, I don't like working weekends, and I don't like working after 4 p.m. Now, this blows most agents' minds. They're like, how in the HE double hockey sticks does this even happen? Because people are pulling me in all different directions. That's the difference, is that he controls his schedule, and by having a schedule, he controls his time. And he's a professional that has set professional standards, professional office hours. Every other profession that makes as much money or has the opportunity to make as much money as we do, they have office hours that people respect. Okay? And it's not going to leave. Hey, I'm wide open. What you want to do? Wide open. And when you don't have a schedule, when you don't have anything written down, that's a true statement. You are wide open. You may go, oh gosh, yeah, I'm sorry, but I've got an appointment there. Think about that for a second. I mean, what does that do for your quality of life? What does that do for your relationships? But it's not to say that exceptions are going to have to be made. But these are brake pumpers. Go, oh my gosh, if you know, like, this is the most important. So we know prospecting is like our real estate agent's number one thing. So should we, if we really are going to honor this, okay, would we not want to protect it? I just, like, if this is connected to our why, what drives us, we know, like, this is one of the top money maker right here, is talking to people that know, like, and trust us, and then trying to develop relationships, know, like, and trust relationships with people we don't know, like growing our influence among people in our community. Should we not, like, protect that at all costs? I was talking to another agent about another rookie of the year agent you might know. And I said, hey, we were starting going through this. This was all written up here on the whiteboard, on this whiteboard, similar talking points from the retreat. And I said, let me ask you, how do you handle closings? Do you just call the closing, or you just let the closing agent set the day and time, or the time of day? And he said, no. I tell them what afternoon appointments you got, because I know I need to be doing this in the morning. I know I need to be time blocking for this in the morning. So here we are, an example of, we got 2 rookies of the year, both subscribing to the same disciplines. But you can go ahead and do it your way, and this may be hard to hear, but were you rookie of the year?
No.
What records are you breaking? What awards are you smashing?
None.
Okay, so there it is, right? There it is, totally exposed. Pull the Band-Aid right off and go, yikes. Now, I will remind you that, and whether you made this as a half-hearted commitment, you did commit to a schedule at the retreat.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We got back Sunday, today's Wednesday.
Right.
So just think about that, okay? The other thing I wanted to point out here is that people don't seem to understand is that business owners are leaders. Business owners are leaders. Okay, so Blake Ray, if you start running your business like a business, you can devise whatever schedule you want. I would like to see it. Maybe provide some feedback, but devise it however you want. And I think for you, because you and I are the same in a lot of this respect, we're very fly by the seat of our pants.
Right.
Okay. We're not left brain, we're right brain. We're more creative than we are analytical. So this goes against everything. This goes against the grain for us. Like, this goes against everything in our being, right? But what we need to make peace with, I think, is that success is not easy. It's sequential. So sequential needs to be a sequence of events. We know the magic bullet in real estate is consistency. We know this is the tool by which this happens. We know consistency is going to give us certainty. And if we are certain in both our expertise and our earnings, then we have the freedom. Huh? I thought it was pretty good. There was no applause. We need, like, Jacob, we need fake audience applause. Yeah, we need that.
It would be a bunch of.
So, but Kathy sets records. You set records. TJ sets records. People are going to look to you guys and go, I want to be like you. How they're going to seek advice from you, counsel from you. They're going to say, what I thought was impossible is now possible. But at the same time, What I hope that you would see is you've got more time to do whatever it is that you want. Okay? Whether that is learning how to bake. For you, Blake's probably gonna be fitness. You can finally become that fitness junkie, just crank out those reps in the gym. But for most people, it's just being able to be present more and not feel the pressure and the stress and the anxiety around just constantly trying to grind things out. It's going to become a little bit smoother. All right. Any questions? Only 8 minutes over, about 7 minutes over. No questions?
Who all do you want us calling? If, like, for instance, I mean, I have the leads and stuff that I have, and I keep in contact with them, and I try to go out and I try to find new leads, but who all could?
Start with your database, start with your phone. A,
Okay.
then
Okay,
the
well,
message, B,
Okay.
then the.
Well, so
Anybody that's got ears.
let's
I do that. I didn't know if there was something.
let's look at
outside of
this.
that.
Yeah, well, I think
This is free.
100%.
It's free, so like you can start there. Have a conversation, hey, how are you? Haven't talked to you,
Mhm.
put it right back in front of them.
Well, let's look at this. I go back to this quote all the time. Having a real estate license is a license to be a millionaire if you can master the implementation of three key things: systems, technology, and people. So your business is a database. Like, the value of your business is determined by the strength of your database. Okay, and that's why I want people to drop the base and replace it with bank, your data bank. So everybody you know here locally, everybody your husband knows, the people that know, like, and trust your husband need to go in your database because you're not local, right? So everybody goes in the database, and then the database has the technology to allow you to set up a system so that you're systematically touching these people. So you should be able to open up your computer every morning and start dialing away from 8 to 10 or 9 to 11 or 10 to noon, whatever that is. And your database, your KV core, is going to tell you, Kathy, these are the people you need to call today. Because you're setting them up on a routine call schedule. You're scheduling follow-up calls, and you're putting them basically in what's called a 33 touch. So a 33 touch is mail, call, see. So how are you going to get people in there? This is your KV Core CRM database. So open houses, you got FISBOs, people you're meeting in the neighborhood, start a wine club, all your husband's contacts, all his relationships go in there. Internet leads. So if you start, like, if you did, one of the homework assignments I've been giving agents is to create and publish 25 Craigslist ads that are specific to subdivisions, condo developments, niche properties, foreclosures, 4 bedrooms, pool homes, golf course homes, whatever the case may be, homes on 2 to 5 acres, to get those launched, okay? And if you launch that in conjunction with blogs, consistent social media content, your YouTube channel, then you're gonna fill this with people to call. And you're just never gonna have a shortage of people to call, okay? I didn't get to my 3 S's. Oh, well. So, homework assignment for you, Kathy, I want you to go to the JPAR Strong Ecosystem. Are you following? You write this down, you're gonna do it? JPAR Strong Ecosystem. And there's a search bar on there. There's a search bar on there. And I want you to type this in.
Hold on.
Oops. That's not what you need there. Daily number formula. All right, Jacob, let's cut it. Thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you for attending. TJ, thank you for the salsa. Thank you for the Bucky's lunch. Jacob, thank you for taking a shower. Kathy, thank you for coming.